What improves happiness on a societal scale? This question has been scrutinized by psychologists and economists.
NTD discussed this topic with Jeff Golden, a researcher and former Vassar College instructor. He wrote the book Reclaiming the Sacred: Healing Our Relationships with Ourselves and the World.
He's done a lot of research in this area. He cites experts and institutions such as Yale, the University of Rotterdam. Those offer data showing more material wealth does not necessarily translate into more happiness.
And he notes that some of that data suggests more wealth is accompanied by slightly less happiness. We explore some of the potential reasons for this, how the U.S. compares to other countries, and what additional factors may be involved. Check it out.
Once we are able to meet our basic needs, and I'm talking on a very simple level, at that point, research consistently shows that increased income does very little for our happiness. But on the contrary, what often happens is that as we continue to make money and possessions a priority, we actually compromise the things that really do matter. Those things will not necessarily be a surprise to people, but the research really underscores, for example, one of the most consistent predictors of how happy someone is the amount of time that they're spending with other people, friends and family. Other things like, are you just getting enough sleep, are very basic, and yet we continually compromise these in this society in ways that contribute to this decline in happiness.
And Jeff, that is really interesting. Let's delve into this a little bit further, because people who are in serious poverty, they may not actually have some of those basic needs. Yet in your book, you point out that 70% of those people worldwide are satisfied with their lives. What can we learn from them to gain more contentment?
Yeah, well, overall, in the end, money and possessions only account for between 2 and 4% of our happiness, which is a really important fact that we can perhaps try to hold on to, keep in mind throughout our lives, because we get so many messages in this society that tend to point us in other directions. If we can remember that and stay true to that fact that if I can meet my basic needs, even these people that you just cited, 70% of whom are not able to meet their basic needs, there are still other factors that are so much more important. I mean, these people who have so much less materially than most of us in the United States, and not to mention people throughout all of human history have had so much less, and yet consistently people do tend to be happy regardless of that. And it highlights that fact that even when you don't have enough materially, these other factors, even like friends and family connections and just time to exist instead of just rushing, those really nourish our well-being in ways that overwhelm the importance of money and possessions.
What other factors have you come across in your learning, such as maybe spirituality or a sense of purpose? You touched on community.
Yeah, I love it that you asked that, because what the research shows is that of the factors that have to do with the world around us and the lives that we're creating for ourselves, like time with friends and family, the work that we're doing, actually even more important are the factors that have to do with our inner lives. And they are things like purpose. They are things like just presence, having a sense of wonder and gratitude. It's kind of like that thing about, is the glass half full or half empty? Objectively speaking, one could say it's both, but which one do we want to be informing how we feel in our daily lives, how we interact with other people and with our work? That sense of abundance and gratitude is going to get us a whole lot further in terms of the things that most of us really care about. And ultimately, it's not even that the glass is just half full. The glass really, for most of us, is 98% full, but our orientation tends to focus in on that 2%. Maybe some additional products or the size of the house or things like that, when the fundamental things that we so often lose sight of, and these are things like, here we are having a conversation, language, words, breath, our very lives. These are miracles and worthy of us stepping back and having a sense throughout our days, throughout our weeks, our months, of the abundance that we truly live in. That glass is 98% full, and we've got a glass in the first place, right? That's a lovely place to step into our lives in the world from.
Very uplifting words from you today. Jeff Golden, author and researcher and former Vassar College instructor, thank you.
Thank you for your interest.